I watch WellKinda Forever, and this is the review. So, there's a lot of discourse and cordial conversations. Okay, not really. It's a little bit hectic in these streets of the internet. But so for WellKinda Forever, like it's not a bad movie. It's just the opposite of good. Okay, I'm kidding. Kinda. I mean, yeah. I don't know if you smell me right now, but oh, why my space hit? Hold on. Okay, my heater turned on. Yeah. You know what? I like the movie. It's a likable movie. That's right. I said it. I like the movie. Kinda. So, I guess at the beginning of this, I'll break it up. Like, my videos are so technologically advanced. I can do a spoiler review, a non-spoiler, simultaneously in the same video. Well, I guess not okay. Like at the end, okay, so at the beginning, all you need to know is this is the non-spoiler review. And, yeah, let's hop into it. So, yeah, this is definitely, it's a likable movie. Like, if you just turn your brain off and then you just look at the colors and hear the people talking. So it's definitely a movie. Like, this movie is perfect for you if you really love sitting down. Like, cause you're gonna do a lot of sitting down in this movie. About 3 hours worth. But, you know, it's good for that. I mean, the acting. So the acting in this movie is actually really great. The queen, I forgot her actual name. I think it's Shanna something. But she put the, you know, Luka Doncic, you know, game 6 Klay Thompson. Like, she carried. She went 3 crazy in this movie, so kudos to her because her acting is great. But all around, most of the acting, the dialogue and stuff was really great. I really like the characters, mostly. We'll get into that part. But yeah, a lot of the characters are good. Yeah. I mean, I like the act. Like, a lot of people be over there, you know, cracking jokes, you know, Saturday Night Live, just flame sessions on like the CGI. So I'm a little confused because I went there, you know, I put up to IMAX theaters, 4K HD, and at first I didn't really like see too many problems. I saw like one instance. It was like when they was in the ocean and they was just swimming. But that, I was like, what? It kind of looked like they pulled out Microsoft Paint for that one. But like, on first glance, it looked, you know, it looks pretty good. But though I don't know what happened because I returned to it and then I was looking at, you know, some of the highlights and stuff so I could remember what happened in the movie. And then on my telephone, I don't know what happened. It looked completely different. I think, like, was I inebriated like the first time I watched the movie? Because I could definitely see it look like PS3 graphics. But yeah, but I mean, for the most part, you know, the CGI isn't really that bad, and then is a good amount of action in it. So those are some good parts. And I forgot the biggest part was the tributes, like like in the movie, like in the actual plot, and in the, you know, outside of it, like externally. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was really good tributes to Chadwick. So in the movie they did have to write him off, but they did they did what they could. But I did like, they actually had I guess like a, you know, tribute inside of the movie. It was a big part of the plot. And I guess that's at the same time you could tell like they had to rewrite the sequel, and so, which unfortunately is the reason, I guess, why, you know, some people were not freaking with it like the rest of the movie. So here are some of the, I guess, opposite of good parts in the movie. Yeah, so I already talked about one of them, but yeah, I walked into the theater and I almost had to shave in the middle of it. Like this was like 6 hours long. Like it was the Snyder cut plus another movie. So yeah, it was definitely a movie. And then like the characters, yeah, they good until they're not. Um, I don't know if I should save the ramble. Um, yeah, nah. I'm gonna do it right here, right now. I was not Riri. I was not picking up what she was putting down. I was not. I did not like the character, and I didn't really like the acting. Uh, it a lot of people say that, um, and it also like she was also a big part of the plot too inside of the movie. And then, you know, it it was not like my calculator was like broken or something because it was not adding up. So I'm gonna go in more detail with the spoiler section, but yeah, that was not it, Chief. I'm not gonna lie to you. And then there were some, I guess. Well, I'll say this for the end of it, but I guess there are just a few couple plot holes, and that goes back to like the they had to rewrite it, but there were some, I guess, some big ones though that I guess they still could have covered, like well, I guess the motives of the actual bad guy, and kind of one of the fight scenes at the end. Somebody may or may not have got stabbed through the spinal regions due to C4 and the C6 spinal column, and then just put some dirt on it and walk it off. Like that boy, she started hitting the gritty after it. Like I don't, but that happened, and then I guess a major one. Now don't at me, but the villain, and I liked him. Not even, yeah, that's right. I mean, I don't. I can see why. Like, I, I just thought that boy was drippy. Like, I really liked him. Like, I thought he was a cool dude. But a lot of people say like he was lame AF. Like, I don't understand. But I kind of do at this simultaneously. So I'm gonna get more into that momentarily. But yeah. Let's see. Anything else? Uh, yeah, I think that really covers it for the most part. So great acting, good tribute, mostly great characters. But this was like 7 hours long, and one of the characters, and she was a major plot point. I was just, yeah, I didn't know about that one, and a couple inconsistencies in the plot hole, and I guess a lot of people did not enjoy the villain of this movie. So, all right, I'm about to get into spoilers now. So, if you have not watched the movie, you gotta go. Why are you still here? All right, so the synopsis of IMDb. So I'm gonna just read that whilst giving my emotional recreation of what I was feeling. So at the beginning of the movie, Shuri's trying to save T'Challa. She's trying to recreate the herb, and she's talking to like the Jarvis, I don't know, the Alexa thing on the computer, talking about what percent, what are the vitals, and it's a really great scene. Like it's really emotional, and I was I wasn't sure like which way we going with this. Like, are we just gonna, I guess we gonna write him off, or like, is just I don't know, but yeah, of course he is written off, and I guess I mean it didn't really bother me that much because I was kind of expecting it, but I do see some other people were like, well, you could have either just said he was still off. Like I don't know which one came last, like chronologically, like was the end game or was it like the last Black Panther? I guess probably end game was like last in order. So he could have said he was off planet or said he was in a comatose state. But I was like, those were a few other criticisms. I was like, no, so all right. So back to the movie. Yeah. So fortunately, T'Challa has passed, and they have a little funeral ceremony at the beginning of the movie. They have a coffin with the Black Panther logo on it, a little symbol engraved. Everyone's wearing white, I think, because they had different one. But and then on the one of the walls of the buildings, they had a picture of Chadwick. So it was pretty cool, pretty emotional. We started off really good, really strong. And 1 year later, there's a United Nations meeting where a bunch of other countries are there talking and stuff. And there's a lot of French in this movie. And some of the nations were upset about vibranium spreading across the world. The night before this meeting, soldiers had infiltrated a vibranium ship, and they take a woman ship. What? Who wrote this? All right, so I had to whip out the Wikipedia. So, anyways, at a United Nations meeting, the countries pressuring Wakanda for them to share their vibranium, with some parties attempting to steal it by force. But you know, the thing is, you see, I guess kind of like in a way, there's like basically they're kind of looking like a bunch of d-bags because they could just help their fellow citizens of the earth, but the Wakandans are like, nah man, we straight. So anyways, back to the Atlantic Ocean. So the US Navy SEALs and the CIA, they create a vibranium detector machine to find some potential vibranium underwater. But during said expedition, a bunch of James Cameron's avatars, individuals, just pull up from the water, and they straight up just take them off the map. And well, I'll save it for later. So the CIA believes that, of course, hey, what in tarnation? Clearly, these are Wakandans. And however, at the meeting, they're like, nah, man, these Wakandans, they're good people. Like, imagine if we had these vibranium, what we would do to the rest of the earth. Now, like when I was in the theaters and they kind of said that, I don't know if their intentions, it's kind of like a little, you know what I'm saying, like if we had the, like there, it's kind of like a little bit of kind of like a head ass moment, like the way, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so of course the CIA believes that the Wakandans did it, but of course the Wakandans are like, that's some capping and rap. We didn't do that. So back at Wakanda, Shuri and Ramonda are dealing with the grief of the loss of T'Challa, and they go to a little isolated part of during the night. They go to like a little beach area. They set up like a campfire. They're looking at the nature, the elephants and stuff, and there's some water is gonna come into place momentarily. But Shuri basically says she can't, she wants to see the world burn. Like she loses her brother. She's filled with grief, sadness, and anger. However, she's saying that to the queen, who also lost him, and also in the previous movie she lost kind of a little bit more. So I guess we're not gonna talk about it. Suddenly, some dude from the water straight up just starts flying. He has wings on his feet, and he's talking. And he is Namor. Well, I think he's Namor, but he has 17 different aliases and street names because everyone in the movie just starts saying his name different. But he blames the Wakandans for the vibranium race, and he gives them an ultimatum: either deliver him, the scientist responsible for the vibranium detecting machine, or he finna pull up. He's gonna become like the ultimate op. Like he's going to desecrate Wakanda. Now, his plan is all good and well, but who who says that's like, the whoever created the machine didn't, make leave behind like drawings and blueprints and got a little trademark, and the other people are like, hey, how do you, but anyway. Okay, yeah, that was didn't pause the first time, but yeah. So eventually, Shuri and Okoye are supposed to go and find that scientist. Well, after a conversation, like, okay, what should we do? They're like, Shuri's like, I don't really know, but the big dude with the muscles. What is his name? Dang it, I forgot it. It does not even say it on here anymore. But you know who he is. He's like, well, we could attack, but that doesn't really make sense because they say they're stronger than us, and like maybe we should figure it out. So that's why they go on the little adventure. So anyway, as I was saying, Shuri and Okoye, they're on a secret undercover mission to figure out who is in charge of creating this machine, and turns out that the scientist is actually a student. Yeah, that's right, a student, full real life, real deal student. Like, they go sit inside of classrooms, they have a number two pencil, you know, they sleep early and stuff, they study. Yeah, they got the full package. So it's an MIT student. It's Riri Williams, and they arrive at the university to confront her. However, well, before we move on, so this is okay. Here's the thing. All right, so as I said earlier, I was not picking up what Riri was doing here, because one, it was just so abrupt. Like, okay, so there's this student, but they don't really go into how is she, Jimmy Neutron Jr., the world genius over here, Smarty Mac Smarty Pants. And then it's like it's not really no, I mean, she's she's the Chocolate Factory, Saturday Night Live, she's Laugh Factory. She's over here cracking jokes. Jokes were fairly humorous, but I just I just didn't. It's just kind of boring, kind of mid. I saw a comment on YouTube. There's like, they could have had her working in a basement or bedroom, not making time for family or anything else, always distracted by work, only to hear news. Like, she could have been like, well, in the comics, she's like a fan of Tony Stark. They didn't really go into too much of that. Like, it's not like as obvious and stuff. But yeah, they could have. That's one of the thing that snatches her attention away from her creations, and then she could have saw a picture of her getting an award presented by Tony, which starts to give her more of a reason to be as smart, as successful as him, as he inspired her way back then, making it more emotional when she dusts off a childlike drawing of her Iron Man suit. And there you go, that's more of a character than the original. So again, that's a comment from YouTube, which I agree with. Like, this character, it doesn't really, like, in the movie, all I remember is just like saying, well, it was a good scene, but she's like, hey, it's my father, and then I think Shuri's like, it was her brother. So yeah, it was a pretty cool thing, but it just, yeah, it's kind of boring. Yeah. So eventually they go to a little garage where she has something there, like I don't know, maybe her blueprints or an item or something. But anyway, the CIA starts chasing them. Well, I guess technically it's the FBI, but they're on the way, and then they're like, uh-oh, we gotta go. So then the movie turns to Fast and Furious 6. So they get into some cars, hop in some whips, and just starts taking off. inside the car, and it's a cool chase scene. Well, actually, Riri, like I said, it's just like a student. Like she gets into like this like little Iron Man suit that she makes, and then it just it works perfectly, man. Like it's just it goes up. She saves them because there's like a helicopter above, like searching for them or something, and she just flies up to outer space. Well, I guess not space, but to where the helicopter is, like super duper high in her suit. But I'm just like, okay, I'm a college student, but you don't see me, Tony Stark, JR, like, it just, again, if they just could have built her up, like really showed, she was, I don't know. Anyway, the gang they cross a bridge to try to lose the fuzz. Then eventually, all of a sudden, there's like a explosion of water, some water grenades. And boys start playing with water balloons and stuff. But it's actually some blue people. They return again, and this time, Riri, she loses oxygen, so she falls out the sky in her little suit, and then the car with Shuri flips over and stuff. But it's just Okoye versus these blue people. She whips out the spear. It's a great action scene. And then they should be dead because she stabs them and stuff, but then they just pop a, I don't know, they just revive, come back alive, and then like the leader's like, okay, you guys, I got this, you guys can retreat. And so they start running 15, and then eventually it does not work out in Okoye's favor, and not only does she get stomped out, they take Shuri and Williams underwater to meet Namor. So Okoye has to return back to Wakanda without empty-handed, like no scientist and no daughter, and that's not really cool. So back in Wakanda, Okoye gets viciously scorned, and she's stripped out of her title as general, and now the people have to figure out, the queen has to figure out where her daughter is, and also she has to figure out where the scientist is, because apparently she's going to be under attack. So she's in a sticky situation. This is a pickle. So she has to seek out Nakia, who's been living in Haiti since I guess like Endgame, Thanos' attack on Wakanda. So back to the blue people. So Shuri and Riri, they eventually end up in a little cell, but it's an underwater kingdom. And eventually Namor and Shuri have a little chit chat. So he goes on this little villainous, monologue. So basically he gives a flashback showing back way back in the day, the Maya, his tribe, his people, his mom. Yeah, his mom, of course, they're all humans, but they find some blue stuff. I forgot what it is, but eventually they, of course, you eat the unknown substance, and she's pregnant, but she is like superpower juice, and so that's how he gets his power. She gives birth, but they need to breathe. They can't breathe oxygen no more, so they go underwater, and she gives birth. He's the first person to be born underwater, and so that's this little thing. However, when he returns, his mom dies. He goes back to the ground, the surface world. He sees that all the slavery, the conquistadores going on, and he's like, "Hey yo, what? This is not cool." But the kid, one of the slave masters, is like, Oi, bruv, you no one loves you, so you don't have love. So of course he, as a child, attacks, he and his people attacks all the slave masters. They return back to the ocean, but those words stick with him. He didn't have the accent though, but it's close enough. It's close enough to the Spanish accent. But yeah, he's like, no love, I'll show you. I'll be called Namor, which is no love in Spanish. So There. This is why he is mad at humanity because of how violent, and especially because they have vibranium. They're gonna want some of that. So he proposes an alliance with Wakanda against the rest of the world, but he threatens to destroy Wakanda if they refuse because they have some good power. Now, it's just a really small problem, which gets, they talk about later on in the movie. But these are fish people, and the rest of the world is not I don't know. According to my calculations, they're landlocked countries, and I'm not sure how they're gonna they're gonna have to do a flood, Noah's flood the earth, but I don't. They're gonna not get there. So anyway, now ignoring the fact that he wants to do the drip or drown challenge to the rest of the world, I'm kind of confused as to if I'm supposed to like him or not. Because from these flashbacks, like he's a kid and he returns back to Earth to bury his mom, but he sees all the slavery and stuff. Like I'm a little baffled, I'm a little puzzled, I'm a little took in the back, I'm a little flabbergasted. Like I'm stumped. Like I'm not sure if he's supposed to be like a sympathetic figure, because it's kind of emotional. And it's a good speech. I'm like, you know what? I'm finna join him. Like, but I don't know. I can't. It's not obvious. Like it doesn't. And I'm not really trust. I'm not sure if they're doing that on purpose or if that was accidental. And Shuri's like, boy, that's quite sad, isn't it? It's not really a Wakandan accent, but it's close enough. So anyway, after that conversation, they return to the cell, and suddenly Nakia gets the drop on him and pulls up with the I guess extendo. Like she just takes out someone, just 360 no scopes, and then she I think kills another one, or she's about to die, like another civilian that's inside of the little place, and then they all escape. And after over here having these sad thoughts, sad boy hours, listening to Drake albums, that conversation, Namor returns to the cell, sees these two people bleeding out, need to be revived. He's like, oh hell nah. So back in Wakanda, everyone rejoices. The queen has her daughter back, and they have the scientist, and things go for there, of course. And again, he's triggered. Like he does a great speech, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's just kill the Wakanda. So we turn back to America, and then we have Agent Ross, who was actually in contact with the queen, because during that little Need for Speed Most Wanted, Shuri dropped her beads, her little Audemars, which allows her to talk back to Wakanda. Ross finds it, he keeps it, takes it from the scene. Eventually, it goes off in the car with his wife, the other CIA person, and she finds out. Well, she actually knew the whole time because it was bugged. She eventually arrests him, and he's off to jail. So, returning back to Wakanda, Namor and his people, they just come and just desecrates the city's next to the ocean for some reason, a bunch of water, and somehow I guess him and his people, you can just sneak past the security and stuff. So I guess it do be like that sometimes. So anyway, they flood the city, they attack them, they do the singing thing. It's complete destruction, and it goes on for a bit, and eventually they're trying to save the scientists inside this building. It's the queen, the scientist, and someone else. And Namor, he's flying around, zipping around, destroying all those helicopters and the Wakandan forces and stuff. He sees them in this glass building, and then he just destroys it and leaves a flood. The building gets flooded. There's a hole in the ground, and the queen, it's her and Riri. They both are unconscious, and the queen goes back underwater to save Riri, which you could have just left her there. I'm not even gonna. Anyway, of course, the queen, she tries to come back to the surface. Fortunately, She ain't have too much enough gas in her tank. She died. And Namor, he's like, he sees Shuri. She finds the queen, and he's like, "You're the ruler now." And but then he's turns into a nice guy. He's like, "All right, guys, we'll be back in like 5. You know, we're gonna take a halftime break, halftime performance, and we're gonna let you guys regroup and get angry and build your Black Panther suit. So be right back. I'll mess with you the long way. So I'll catch you on the flip." And he just leaves. Like he was really just giving them the work. But Shuri's the queen now. But quick question: how was Ramonda the queen in the first place? Because if you recollect from the first movie, they have to box, like they have to run fades, and it happened twice in Black Panther 1 in order to become king. And yeah, but yeah, so that was I'm not sure how she she must have some hands, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, but to be fair, like I said, they had to remake it. They had to redo the script, so I give them leeway. But it was kind of like a thingamajig. But anyway, Shuri, she there's another funeral ceremony. It's similar to the beginning. They have the engraving on the coffin, and we have M'Baku. He's over there, saddened, and it's a good scene. So, anyways, now Shuri, after the funeral, she is filled with anger in reference back to the beginning. She wants to see the world burn, so she recreates the herb. Now, I thought she was gonna be like more conflicted. Like, okay, they attacked. Like, I thought it was gonna be like a drama. Like, okay, why'd you attack? And then this, but okay, they had a good reason. But now she's big mad now. So she, basically she wants to become the Black Panther. So she makes the herb. Her and Riri and I think the other person, they all they start working on the suits. And yeah, when she ingests the herb, instead of seeing, I guess, her brother, she sees Killmonger, who makes his first debut in this film. And he's like, hey, why do you see me? Like, you must be angry. You need to do what your brother, actually your brother is a hypocrite, because he would have been killed him. So she wakes back up. She's like, okay, it didn't work. This was all cap. But however, she punches something. Turns out she actually, it kind of did work. She's fueled by anger though. But now they're all working on suits. Riri, the general, and her. She makes a new Black Panther suit. They all suit up, and now she is ready to wage war. And she goes to M'Baku, and she has to go do the things, show that she's powerful. She's the new Black Panther. And M'Baku's still like, okay, we need peace, but nah, she's like, I'm not about that lifestyle. So she's determined, and she makes an immediate order to do a counterattack on the Talokan. So now we're getting ready for battle, and everyone is about to go crazy. Give it ahead. There's two things. One, they realize that the way Namor's breeze is actually kind of like gills through his skin. So their plan was, you hear this? Hold on. To basically just whip out a space heater and burn his skin, which makes it harder to breathe. So I mean, that was interesting. But anyway, to fight the Talokan, their plan was to go into the ocean, where the Talokan gets all their powers. So that didn't really work out that good. I'm not even gonna cap to you. It was a really good battle scene. Lots of good stuff. Again, I was just worried. Like, okay, I really like Namor. I hope they don't kill him. But yeah, it's really good stuff. Some cool stuff. Like like I said, the CGI, I didn't really bother me too much. But yeah, then we eventually have Shuri and in her Black Panther suit, fighting Namor one on one. She takes they got him into the space heater, but then he breaks out. The airplane crashes. Eventually, it's a one on one, like on the shore of the beach. They're fighting, blah blah blah. Eventually, she just straight up gets shanked, like on some British roadman type activity. But then she just whips it, pulls out the little thing from her spinal cord and acts like nothing happened. Eventually, Namor at the same time, he needs to get back in the water to be able to breathe again. Fortunately, he's passing out, but then, Shuri's succumbing from her injuries. And eventually, he gets to Neymar's on the ground. Boy falling, can't get back up. He needs the life alert. And then she can kill him, and then she's like, "Okay, you know what? Changed my mind." And that was about it. So we have reached the end of the movie. This is the falling action. Namor returns back to the ocean, and before that, he is assured by the Wakandans that they will protect them in their vibranium. And however, Namora, which is Namor's cousin, I didn't know that but apparently it is in the synopsis. But she is upset that Namor surrendered at the big fight, and he assures her that, hold on, this new alliance with the Wakandans will allow us to go ahead and conquer the world. So I don't know. I guess he just didn't learn his lesson or something. So that was basically the end of the movie. Well, I guess there are a few other things like, Riri returns back to MIT, leaving her suit behind. Okoye rescues Ross from captivity. He was in the back of like a truck. She pulls up with a spear, cuts him loose. Shuri plants more heart-shaped herbs in the future of the to ensure the future of the Black Panther mantle. And M'Baku, in Shuri's absence, like as she leaves, she was the queen, but she goes back to Haiti. So M'Baku steps forward to challenge for the throne, and that was kind of a thing that was, like I said at the beginning of the movie. I'm not sure what happened. How did Ramonda even become? She must have, I don't know, hit her with the 1-2 Floyd, 3-4 McGregor, like. But then Shuri goes back to visit Nakia in Haiti. She burns her funeral robe, ceremony robe. She's like, okay, now it's final. She can finally grieve T'Challa. Then at the end, I didn't actually see the end credits, but it says Shuri learns that Nakia T'Challa had a son named who Nakia has been raising in secret, and it reveals his Wakandan name is T'Challa. So, I'm looking at medium.com, looking at the essential elements to a film review, and the acting, like I said, the highest part, dialogue, that was also a really good part. The cinematography, like the lighting and wardrobes and settings, I think they're good too. The soundtrack, it wasn't really like that memorable, like, wasn't too crazy, like it didn't have the block hot or anything, but yeah, I think it was good. The directing and the editing, like the pacing, and like the theme, like the tonality, was a little bit confusing because I was like, I was signing with the Talokan. I was like, yeah, brother, death to the Wakanda. The plot and the storytelling elements. To be fair, like I said, they had to rewrite it, though they could have maybe just waited. I don't know, but so that's the end of the